Welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter Podcast, your number one source of all things bodybuilding. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Now, here's your host, Leroy Rollins.
All right, people, welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter Podcast. I'm here with my man, Ace Baldwin, making his second appearance on the podcast. And for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, as you can see, he looks pretty comfortable out in the California sun, just hanging out. Looks like he's drinking a shake. Ace, man, introduce yourself to the people that might not know who you are, and then we'll just start chatting.
Yeah, what's up, Fit Fam? Leroy, thanks for having me. Ace Baldwin, three-time Lifetime Natural Pro, PNBA, NGA, WNBF Pro Natural Bodybuilder, and gym owner, proud father, soon-to-be YouTuber.
Woohoo!
Yeah, right. It's about time.
Yeah.
Only took 41 years.
Get with the times, man. Jeez.
I know, man. I got to learn from the kids.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Okay, so let's get into what I think is probably going to be the meat of this podcast, and that is that you are prepping again for a show in July. Why don't you elaborate on that a little bit, my man?
Yeah, sure. January 1st, I flipped the switch to basically get ready for the WNBF Muscle Mayhem in Sacramento, California, which is the same show that I won the overall last year.
Yep.
To earn the pro card with them, and then this year will be simply to use the pro card in that insanely humbling and scary pro class.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
It's my job this year to send a lot of big guys home, or at least just not get last.
Team lightweights.
Yeah, team lightweights, baby, giant killers.
Yep, that's right.
You got to bring the condition and the shape, right?
100%. So January 1st was your first official day of prep?
Yeah, that's when I basically started really keeping track of my intake.
Okay.
And following numbers again.
Yep.
And with the intent, obviously, of get ready early and give myself, obviously, that entire, 7 months, pretty much. So
So talk to me about how you structure things off the hop. Obviously, 7 months, that's plenty of time. So are you pretty, lenient with things, or is it very structured? How does that go?
Even though the last show was just it will be a full year, right? Which really doesn't give you much off season. It just gives you some breathing room.
Yeah.
And to live a little before you basically feeling them right back on track, which is very much the old school ways where we pretty much would all compete like every year, thinking that that's what an off season was a handful of months, and then you're back in the grind.
Totally.
And it was okay for me to do that this year, not like having any misconception that I'm making some crazy progress in the off season or anything as far as muscle being made.
Yeah.
It was more like I'm happy with the muscle I have. I would like to enjoy things a little more often in regards to the stage before I hang it up, whenever that may be. So
okay, that's an interesting perspective. I haven't heard that before. That's cool.
Yeah, and I'll elaborate on that a little bit more. But it still is, even though a year, between these two shows, and only from July to January 1st of letting your hair down, so to speak.
Yeah.
If there's still a period where you feel like you're knocking the dust off.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Firing up the MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
And stepping on the scale again every day, and
yep.
You catch yourself just grabbing certain food without really thinking about it because you already got used to it like that.
Yeah. Those habits.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of like as soon as a show or a season is over for me, I can just drop the weight scale, the food scale, the MyFitnessPal, basically as if I've never used it before, right? It's like, get this shit away from me.
I'm similar. I'm similar to that, where as soon as it's over, I'm like kind of almost fully on the other side of the spectrum. Like I still like will always have those habits of like 5 or 6 meals a day, protein with every meal. Those will never go away. But as far as being more meticulous with things, I'm the same as you. It's just like, oh, I'll have some of this, I'll have some of this. Maybe I'll have a banana later, I'll have a protein shake at some point. Like, you kind of flick it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like if you really live the life and you love this, you get to a certain point where you can't unlearn what you've learned.
Yeah.
So even if you don't know what a number is, you're kind of keeping a mental tally of like getting enough protein by the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if you feel that you're fairly short on it, or if you realize that you've pretty much been having no good carbs, so you better throw in the damn salad.
Yeah.
You know, or yeah. So we do things like that where it's like I can't help but keep caring about that even year round, right? It just is like to what degree.
Yeah,
so
there's
a part of just being healthy and fit that we enjoy, and there's no way I could just be that guy that's like, yep, it's back to all McDonald's or fuck it, you know, my cereal's just Lucky Charms, and I can't do that. It doesn't feel good. So I do like to eat, you know, relatively healthy year round and make most of my own food, and so that's not a problem. But when you have to get back to being super specific, right?
Yeah.
And counting each bite, it's there for me. There's always this slight like hesitation or this bitterness of like, fuck, how hard do I have to make this so soon, you know?
Yeah.
But it takes me about a week, and then after a week, I'm back to being basically like that machine.
Sure.
You know, and it's like, don't worry, nobody can stop me from doing this because it's what I want to do more than anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, after about a week, no problem, you know. Because it's like, as you know, it's like we pretty much train all year. We enjoy training, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
people are like, I remember when I finished, I just finished competing, and a few people were like, "Oh, aren't you pumped? You don't have to go to the gym as much." I'm like, "Are you crazy?" Like, I will probably train better now and more often because I have fuel. I was like, the trainings, that's what I love to do. I've been working out,
absolutely.
You know. I'm 25 now. I started hitting the gym pretty seriously at like 15, 16 years old, right? So for me, that's like you said, the training, you're going to do that regardless. It's just how much broccoli am I going to eat?
Yep. For us, that's sanctuary, you know?
Yeah.
And I bet you, just like me, we get paranoid if we're eating like a glutton and we're not going to go use that fuel.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Tomorrow,
like, oh man, tomorrow's gonna be crazy because I just killed this meal or the entire day or something, right? Yeah, totally.
Today I did legs this morning, and that you know I'm in the off season now, right? So I've got some improvement season. I'm referring it to as. It's not off.
Totally.
But I did legs this morning, and I'm like, okay, I've got some leeway with calories today. But tomorrow's a rest day, so I'm like, we'll keep things a little tighter.
Right, exactly. So that's the kind of thing where we can't, like, let that go or unlearn that, or it just kind of helps us feel like we're always trying to be proactive, right, towards what's the ultimate goal. And it's not that it's hard, it's that's what feels good to us, right? And it's just something that is, like, hardwired in our system that this is how I want to live my life. Even those little things, right? It just all adds up. You know, it's accumulative, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And it's just like, you know, somebody like myself, 41, now competing in his 16th year.
Yeah.
It's like I get to see the accumulation of that. Where was there any crazy change one year to the next? And not really. I have to look at a much greater time lapse than that. And
especially as a natural.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's still a trick when I explain to people that I compete lighter now than when I started back.
Man, I remember our first podcast. You said that, and that blew my mind.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's like I have to be as transparent as I can to be honest and not paint like an incorrect picture. But if people say, how do you do that? Did you lose muscle? I said, no, I probably gained, 5 pounds of muscle since then.
Yeah.
Because again, I started at 25. I was already training like a madman.
Yep.
But I'm probably 10 pounds leaner than my first show.
Exactly.
So it's
which is
like
huge. That's a big difference.
Right. There's the net loss on the scale, right?
Yeah.
So it has to be okay. And especially when you're in the pro class and you're not trying to make a certain weight or anything. Like, hey, what's the best I can make what I have look?
Yeah.
And that's just it. So that's humbling. I always say, like, I had dreams of being, trying to get to 176 and a quarter at the top of the middleweight class in the NPC.
Yeah.
And then I think now, and I go, if I weighed that as shredded as I get, it would be huge.
You'd be a monster.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's just not possible without the drugs because I have done everything to try to do that.
Yeah.
I have left no stone unturned as far as how much food can I handle in the off season and how close can I follow an Excel spreadsheet for an entire year.
Yeah.
Forcing progress under the bar. And for me, I just have to accept that, my genetics don't want to help me much as far as the growth side of things.
Sure.
Or I don't want to train a certain way that I totally don't enjoy.
Yeah.
For maybe the tiniest bit of return on investment, right? I need to enjoy my training like each time.
Yeah.
And it's just it's my own personal journey. And somebody else might say, oh, you're doing it wrong, or hey, if you did this program, I promise you could get better results or whatever. But hey, I have, no regrets.
Well, you got 3 pro cards to your name too. So who are they to argue with you, right?
Yeah, and to say I've sent plenty of middleweight and heavyweights home, then it's an understatement. And I feel lucky that I've had the judging panel go my way more than not.
Yeah,
that have let's say called it the right way and judged shape.
Yeah.
And condition and poise and structure and all of that. And everything that is supposed to be a complete conglomeration of all of the facets of bodybuilding. So, yeah.
Now he's got a shirt on.
Yeah, I know.
Minor technical difficulties.
It was over 90 out there, so I guess the phone doesn't like to work that hot, so.
That's all good. That's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so wherever we left off, let's talk about what your kind of diet is looking like right now. So you're competing in July, so that puts you, 2 months out? Just over?
It's 12 and a half weeks.
12 and a half weeks. Okay, so what's kind of macro breakdown right now?
Right now I'm at about 235 carbs.
Okay.
160 protein.
Okay.
And 55 fat.
So is that low for you?
No, it feels good. When I started keeping track in January, I basically ate normal for a week to kind of see what I was used to at that point. And it was right around 400 carbs and about 70 fat.
Okay.
Same protein.
Right.
So, I made kind of a sizable jump initially to kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
But and what I tried to do and what I did last year that worked incredibly well was just make one change a month and then just stick with it. So, and what I mean by one change is, whether I make a caloric drop with my intake and then also obviously a caloric jump with my cardio or any kind of output, right? Once I make that change, just stick with that for the entire month. And basically what I found is that will keep working as long as I work it. You know, it was the kind of thing where, like, in the past, if it didn't work, it was user error. It was like, all right, man. So instead of me having to make like maybe a more often weekly change or something like that, it was like, no, just hit your damn numbers, you know, just let day after day work for you. And I found that, at least like I said last year, it was like clockwork, and I didn't have to change a damn thing for the entire month.
Wow.
So it was, and this year it's working even better than that, because I still, like I said, today was my very first day of specific cardio. Yep. So I haven't had to add any cardio yet since starting prep in January, and I still feel like I'm completely enough to satisfy me. Yep. And I don't feel like I'm dieting. I'm just being specific.
Nice.
So
do you follow?
I did look back last year, and I was already doing like 1,200 cardio a week by now.
Gotcha.
And I so haven't had to add any yet.
That's sweet. So do you follow, like, do you have like kind of a meal plan for yourself, or are you tracking but still following a structure? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, good question. I think it's a kind of a hybrid between the whole if it fits your macros and eating kind of meal preppy. But I know that I could have whatever I feel like within the day as long as I know that my body agrees with those foods.
Right.
But I do tend to eat similarly each day with a couple of alternatives.
Gotcha.
Just because two things. I like what I make.
Yeah.
And it makes things easier. I don't have to like reinvent the wheel every day.
Yeah.
So it's like people go, you have the same omelet every morning. I'm like, kind of, maybe
Sorta.
5-6 days a week. It's the same-ish omelet.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll change kind of what cheese goes in there or what salsa goes on top, or obviously the whole egg to egg white ratio, right? As needed per my numbers. But, I don't have a problem being like, well, if I don't want the same toast as usual this morning, would I rather have oatmeal today? Sure.
Gotcha.
Do I, want to have cereal? Yeah. Do I want a bagel? That's fine. And then obviously, like, same thing with my dinner. It's going to be some kind of protein, some kind of carb, some kind of veggie or salad.
Yeah.
But that can really vary depending on just what I feel like, whether it's chicken, beef, fish, pork, turkey, you name it.
Yep.
So, I know how to adjust as I feel like, as long as I can still hit my specified numbers that I have prescribed.
Yeah, see, myself. I think that's a good approach. I think for bodybuilding especially, like, there's some merit to like that level of consistency. Like, I think people try to like get the if it fits your macros like to too much of an extreme, where kind of the way you're doing it is like, okay, if I want oatmeal that's the equivalent carbs to a bagel, that's fine. But it's not that I'm trying to save all my carbs for the end of the day for a tub of Ben and Jerry's. You know what I mean? Like, I think, I think like a certain demographic can quote unquote get away with it if your goals aren't bodybuilding. But if you're trying to be, and especially for you at a pro level, like, you still need that level of consistency. And I don't know, I still think there's merit to like quote unquote clean foods. I really do. Like, I know there's a lot of like evidence that suggests that like there's no good and bad foods, but at the end of the day, I really do think there's merit to like good lean proteins, good complex carbs, that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think your menu should look healthy.
Yeah.
I think it should look healthy for the most part, and you very well may be able to have some kind of what we would call junk even every day, just might depend on how much.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, we might be willing to give up a certain amount of our day to kind of splurge a little more than usual.
Sure.
But you try to do that every day, and you're just like, that's not worth it, you know? No. So, but you're right. It's kind of tends to be the younger generation with the whole if it fits your macros that's coming up with crazy recipes of like an insane amount of like fake food and just volume and it's like hey, if that works for you, I'm not going to preach, you know what I mean? But I really enjoy my clean eating and I enjoy my bad food, but I can't eat like crap more than a day or two where I'm like, get this off of me, you know, or let me get back to like the way I make my chicken, or I love my salad every night, you know, that kind of thing. So it's a combination. I know that I could have whatever I feel like because I know how to make it add up, you know?
So what is your...
but you're right. There's a lot of like the old school guys or the, like, let's say the NPC crowd that's like, you can't get away with this. You can't eat that. And I'm like, it is a numbers game. Yeah. It is a numbers game, you know? Sorry if you think this isn't like clean, but I'll prove you wrong every time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, and I'll beat you on stage while I do it.
Yeah.
So
usually.
Quickly, how does your nutrition differ, like in your little bit of an off season to what it's like right now? Like, do you still follow a similar approach with more flexibility in the off season, or?
Yeah. I think in the off season, it tends to be eating very similarly to what I do now, but just more of it, and probably having maybe more like of a, hey, I will throw in the pizza night each week, or
Sure.
I will let myself eat out more often.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But I would definitely say that I still make most of my own stuff year round.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would just say more calories, more eating out, and not keeping track of what it necessarily adds up to.
Yeah,
right?
that was going to be my follow-up. Do you track it all or no?
No. At least the last few years, it has been to where I don't want to keep track of anything once the season is over.
Right.
Because I know how to eat instinctively healthy.
Yeah.
I know how to obviously, I mean, it's not like I'm worried about taking in enough food. Once the scale starts going up, you're like, all right, stop going up, you know? So it's not like I want to keep forcing more food in the past where like I thought I was bulking and gaining and I was just getting fatter, you know? So I don't need to force food at all anymore. And I'm doing my best to stay closer to stage weight than I have in the past.
Right.
It just feels better and is easier to get into contest shape once it's time to flip the switch.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we covered nutrition pretty good. Talk to me about your training right now. What's the split look like?
You know, split, I kind of alternate between 1 week of push-pull leg
Okay.
with a Sunday off. And even that Sunday is probably my day where I go on a hike.
Okay, so like an active recovery.
Yeah, it might be a hike, or that the hike might be on a Saturday when I also was doing my leg day or power day.
Sure.
And then the following week it will be more body part prioritization. You know, the basic back day, chest day, shoulder day, arm day, 2 leg days.
Okay.
So
what led you to that? I've never really heard of that kind of alternating 2 week.
Yeah.
Like what brought you to that? That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just so that each week or every other week, I feel like I'm getting a little bit more volume and specificity to the specific muscle groups, right? So yeah, I might throw in just a very little bit of arms on your push day and pull day.
Yeah.
But the alternating week, the arms get an entire day.
Oh, that's cool.
The shoulders get an entire day.
I like that.
And the legs still get hammered twice a week, right? So, yeah, I just kind of figured that that's what I enjoy, how I enjoy training. I obviously still like the heavy compound stuff.
Yep.
And focusing on the, kind of the meat and potatoes of just resistance training, but throwing in the alternating week of a little bit more isolation.
Yep. Pump work.
And yeah, it's just been my hybrid of kind of 20 years of my own trial and error and how I enjoy training.
So do you have like exercise overlap between the 2 weeks, or do you do like say for example, so say you do like push, you'll do like, so what would you do on push day for chest?
Yeah, push day is typically a compound chest movement, whether I want to do bench or dumbbell. Yep. Or even machine press. It can depend what gym I'm training in.
Sure.
Some machines feel great.
Yeah.
I got no problem with that. And then some kind of overhead press.
Yep.
And then a dip,
yep.
Weighted dip usually. And then a lateral raise movement.
Okay.
And then a tricep movement.
Okay.
So there's my five movements on my push day.
So now compare that to chest day in week 2. What do you do?
Yep. Another compound chest movement.
A different one?
And then, probably a different one than the previous. And then I will throw in either higher rep dip or weighted dips, whatever one I didn't do the previous week.
Okay.
But then I will throw in a fly movement, and then 2 tricep exercises.
So yeah, more volume.
Yeah, more isolation.
Nice.
Just more volume, I guess. Yeah.
Right on. I like that. That's cool. I've never heard that before. That intrigues me because you kind of get the best of both worlds, eh?
Right. That's the idea. It's whether you call it power building or I've never been a power lifter. I haven't really had the desire to step to the platform, but very much enjoy those heavy movements, but also feeling like I need just enough volume per each muscle group and that incredible mind-muscle connection with the contraction and the stretch and giving it, let's say, just its amount of work that you think is just right for you, you know? So I kind of found that regardless of what day it is or what kind of split I'm doing, I prefer about 5 movements per workout.
I like it.
So
that's cool. So you in the gym for what, an hour maybe?
I think that would depend on the day, but probably anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. Yeah. Kind of depending on
maybe like
how much time I'm taking and exactly right. Do I want to really get into it? Do I want to throw this other one in? Do I have a ton of energy? Do I have the time? You know, being a pretty busy guy, I have to make sure that I structure it right. I hate being rushed with my workouts.
Yeah, like I hear you. Like I just recently switched careers, so now I got to train in the mornings. So this morning I started work at 7, so I had to be at the gym by 4:30 because I didn't want to be rushed, and it was just it was getting into that groove of like, okay, it takes me this long to warm up. I've got these 5-6 exercises. Should take me about this long, as long as I don't dick around between sets, and there's no one at the gym, so it's easy to just stay focused. I agree. Like I hate being rushed at the gym.
Yeah, I get a bit angry or antsy or like almost like bitter if I have to feel really rushed.
Yeah,
almost like I'm entitled to feeling like I'm some pro where it's my only job. Yeah, and it's not, right? Like you have a real job, you have a family, you have a life, and you're not just in the gym as much as people think you are. Yeah, right?
Yeah, legit.
And so I do know, like, if I'm pressed for time, kind of how I would adjust my training versus it feeling like, oh, all of a sudden it just got cut short.
Yeah.
So I might obviously change like my set range, saying like today I did it, instead of doing 5 sets per each exercise, it's going to be 3 sets of each exercise, but I'm going to do all of them. And it's going to be a 20-15 rep range for every exercise. So forcing blood flow in there,
burn it out,
and feeling like by the end of those 3, it wore me out just as much as if I did 5 of a different rep range.
Awesome. I like that. All right, man. Let's finish this off with this YouTube channel that you're so eager to get fired up. So talk to me a little bit about why you're doing it, what you want to content you want to provide, your goals. Just give me a quick rundown of the channel.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. It has been years since I've had people go, oh, why aren't you doing a channel? Or you should really be posting this content. It's usually been like my clients or fellow competitors and things like that, and my hesitation has probably been twofold, where I'm going, I don't really want to be that open with my life and feel like I'm living on camera and like walking around like recording myself all the time. I don't really have a desire to be like Insta famous or it's just not really me, so I don't crave the limelight at all. I'm more, I swear I'm more of a humble, like just like do my thing kind of guy.
Yeah.
But I do so love to help people. Yeah. And I love to say, hey, if I can show you, like maybe how I've made some mistakes in the past so you don't have to, or,
totally.
Oh man, you're really working so hard, but it's not about working harder. It might be just about working smarter, and I can guide you and give you motivation and things like that, and I have a story to tell, and it is it has been adding up over years and years. I mean, I am a veteran. I'm not a noob at this, right?
No, 100%.
So I've got years of training and life experience that I want to share. And even if it is just to kind of record my own history as if I'm writing a book. And,
no, totally, man.
You know, so I could look back on it when I'm a super old man, older than I am now. And
that's what's so cool about it, man, is to be able to do that, right? Like I documented like every show, and like my girlfriend and I just did our first show. Like she did her first one 2 weeks ago with me, and I was like, you know what's cool is like we'll be able to watch this when we're like 60 and be like, remember when we were shredded?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Like I try to imagine, you know, what it would be like if I was able to watch a video just like this of my grandfather at my age when he was, you know, flying B-17s in World War II.
Yeah.
And him talking as if if I was right there.
Yeah.
But so much time has gone by.
Crazy.
You know, and we can't. All we have is pictures and maybe old letters and going, I don't even know what your voice was like back then.
Yeah, no,
you know?
for sure.
It's little things like that where you're recording like your legacy, you know? I don't have the ego that says, oh, I want my accolades to live on forever. I don't care about that. I just, if anything, it would be so I could help people and have my family for years to go, oh, that's so cool that I could see like how he was and things that he did that hopefully were positive, you know? It's that. I know I have a lot of content that I would like to share. And so, yeah, it's time. It's time.
That's cool, man. Well, hey,
I'm ready.
When you get it fired up, you let me know and I'll help spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got some questions for you if you've got time.
Yeah, let's do it. Bang them out.
Okay. I'll keep it quick for you, man. So first, for my channel, I want you to introduce yourself real quick. Say anything you want as far as who you are and what you just wrapped up with.
Nice. All right, people of Ace's YouTube channel. My name is Leroy Rollins, competitive natural bodybuilder as he is. 25 years old. Just recently won my first overall title. Super pumped about that. A fellow lightweight competitor as Ace is. Currently just entering my improvement, not off season, my improvement season. Tentatively got 12 months before we enter prep for the Canadian Nationals in August of 2020.
Right on. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for being on my channel. It is an honor for me to have you, as you're very much the future. So, you know, I look to guys like you and go, I can't wait to see what you do in the next 5, 10, even 15 years before you even get to my age right now. So it's exciting to kind of have you now in this beginning stage, you know? So I love it. How do you feel about this season looking back now that it's a wrap? Are you happy with it?
Very. This season was the best by far. All I wanted this year was to get one of those overall titles. It's eluded me every time, being the lightweight, being the small guy. I'd always walk away with a class win, but never the overall. So actually my screensaver on my phone from the day I started prep said you will win an overall in 2019. That was my screensaver.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had it typed up, and every time I'd open my phone, it was right there. And
manifest destiny. You made it happen, man.
Yeah.
So exactly. I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. So I had 2 shows. The last one was a week ago, and then one was 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks back to back. Walked away with the first show, the lightweight title, classic physique. We have that in the Canadian Physique Alliance. So I did classic physique just to try it out, see if I liked it. Ended up winning my class there, and then went into the overall for bodybuilding and finally got that big title. And then went to New York for INBF. Wanted to get into that stream, eventually work up to the WNBF like you did. And took second to a very competitive class. They had us doing quarter turns, pre-judging for 25 minutes. And I was dead.
I know how that goes.
Yeah.
They're brutal.
Yeah.
They wear you out, man.
Yeah. So super humbling experience, and really happy with this season.
Awesome, man. Well, I do have to tell you, in regards to that, you know, prior to this season, I saw the pics of yours from previous shows, and my first thought was, oh my gosh, I love this kid's structure. And if he just was tighter, I can completely see what he's working with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you did it. And in fact, this year when you did get tighter, I was like, it's better than I even thought.
Sick.
So
that means a lot, man. Appreciate
feedback.
that.
I mean, really. And it was the kind of level to where I thought to myself, shit, if he showed up like this at one of my shows and we were going to go at it, I would be worried.
Dude,
so I want you to know that.
I would love somehow for us to make that happen. Just, I don't know.
Let's make it happen, brother.
Okay.
I would love to share the stage with you. I'm as much of a fan of yours.
Okay.
That would be great. Yeah.
Okay. I'm putting it out there in the world. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Me too. I'll do it. I will not retire until you and I share the stage.
I'm holding you to it, brother.
And we go 1 and 2, however that goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. Right on, man. Okay, cool. And your future plans on and off the stage?
On stage, as I said earlier, 2020 is the game plan. Nothing before that. I'm really happy with the progress I made in like the 7 months I had between shows. So to have a full 12, I'm super stoked to what I can do.
At your age, you'll take advantage of every year.
Yeah,
you will.
Yeah, so that's the game plan there. As far as off the stage, girlfriend and I are looking to take that next step in our relationship this year. So that's part of the reason why we won't be competing. That's part of the reason why we won't be competing.
That's awesome.
Until next year, because we got some life goals to check off.
Yep.
So very excited about that.
That's great, man. That's great. I'm super happy for you. You guys look great together, you know. And it's really important to find someone and be with someone that shares a lot of those same passions, right?
No,
you know,
100%.
even if it's not in the same capacity, but for to have somebody that gets you that way and shares that lifestyle, I think it can mean everything, much more than the opposites attract thing.
No, yeah, forever grateful for what I
great.
found in her, because it's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I love it. Well, we'll be staying tuned at your plans for on and off stage. I was going to say, how has training or nutrition evolved for you since you started?
How has it evolved? I would say training.
Like, is it considerably different from like when you kind of started bodybuilding?
Nutrition, not really. Nutrition, we've kind of found what works and just ran with it. I think it's just very minute, fine-tuning things over time, just learning little tricks. Like this prep, for example, we saunaed. So I basically like dehydrated myself and saunaed the night before, to make weight. But then we accidentally figured out that when I did that and then did a really aggressive carb load with salt in like a burger and fries and stuff, after being so dehydrated, I got like super tight. So we kind of like accidentally fell in that because I had to cut water to make weight. So like little things like that, well, I would say
you lucked out, because that's a matter of timing right there.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Could have went very bad.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, and then as far as like, I think training's made the most bit of a jump. My body seems to have really taken to like a high volume approach. I used to really love the heavy sets of 3 and 4 just because, you know, squat, bench, deadlift, like I just felt like a beast. But my body seemed to really respond to like the 15 to 20 reps, leg extensions, lateral raises, little shit like that.
Totally.
Calf raises. And those are all areas that I think compared to last season had improved, right? So it's not by accident.
Absolutely. Right. I saw the improvement, and especially just as you got tighter, everything obviously, as you know, gets more pronounced, right? But I'm looking at your pecs, you know, that side shot. It's like, damn,
that side shot, that's becoming legendary, eh? Everybody comments chest. Right? Look at this guy's chest. This guy's chest. I'm like, oh, thanks, guys.
And the beautiful balance between a great quad sweep, right?
Yeah.
That outer quad sweep is a money maker, and then your great arm development. You've got arms, man. You're putting other guys to shame with arms. So, I think a lot of that comes genetically, but also if you want to maximize that, you've got to be hitting it directly, not just with the compound stuff. So you've probably at least done X amount of balance between both of those, much like myself, right?
Yeah. No, I'd say that's the biggest change for sure is training.
So with great chest, great arms, great quad sweep, and as you just get tighter and minimize the waist, there you go.
Game over, baby.
So you got everything to be a giant killer in the biggest sense of the stage, and in the what we might consider the greatest natural organization,
100%.
Where they will reward guys, not just the big fellas,
Yep.
So I think we have a lot to look forward to if we can just bring that sharpness. So we'll just keep building on that, So
I think that's where I still lack, is that just that next little bit of conditioning. I still think there's
good news is you've got time on your side.
Yeah.
And when that can literally just be one season to the next, or one show to the next, or figuring out some protocol that is a game changer for you.
Yeah.
That's the easy part. Putting on the pounds and pounds of muscle to give you the balanced physique.
Yeah.
That's what takes years. That's years.
True.
So the good news is that the polish that you need, that's quick.
Yeah.
So and it will not elude you because you doubled, your conditioning from your previous showing.
Yeah.
So and we all got to see it, and it was like, holy shit, that's where it blew me away. And I said, it's better than I thought it would be.
Thanks.
So and then final question for me, the humbling one, advice for a noob fitness YouTuber like myself.
Advice, be honest. That's the biggest one, man, is just tell your story as best you can, because no one else can tell it for you.
I love it.
Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly, especially in this sport, because there is good, there is bad, and there is ugly. And just be honest, man. Be transparent, which we know you will.
Yeah. I love that you said that, because it's probably the highest on my list of how I want to portray myself.
Yeah.
And in fact, I already have the first 15 episodes of what I'm going to be recording.
Sure.
And a lot of them are like actual stats of mine, like right down to what's my actual size and weight, and what is it? My own insecurities, and fears, and just putting myself out there and saying, if this could help anybody that might have felt this way, and not painting a picture that like I'm greater than I am. So little things like that. I'm even going to do like a YouTube Cribs edition where I'm showing like my house and my car and all that stuff, and going to kind of poke fun at that and saying, don't believe every YouTuber that says they've got the Lambo in the garage and you know what I mean? It's like, come on, be real, be honest. I'm already going to be doing that. It's going to be really good.
And that's the stuff that wins, right? Is the truth. Yeah. The truth always wins.
Right. And I've got a great videographer that already does, a big hesitation for me before was thinking that I was just going to do this myself, all in like one take with my phone.
Sure.
But, to have like the right kind of camera equipment and editing software and all of that. So, that's one thing that I admire about your channel is that it looks professional.
And it's all on this thing, man. It's all it is.
Right? Yeah. So that's I'm going to kind of take a page out of that book and see how we can make it look like it's not just kind of done all janky, you know? So,
Right
on, brother.
All right, man. Well, this has been fun. I'm glad we were able to do this again.
Same. Let's do another one in 6 months to a year. We'll keep checking in with each other.
Yeah, man.
And I really appreciate the time and energy and love from you, brother.
Hey, not a problem. So let's wrap this up. Everybody stay tuned for his channel. When it's all live and up and running, I will be posting about it, so keep an eye out for that. Stay tuned for his show coming up, 12 and a half weeks. And stay tuned for me and him battling on stage in 2024.
It's coming. It's coming. 2024. Wow.
Well,
all right. Well,
I gotta get to your level. I gotta get some qualifiers under my belt, man.
And you will. It'll probably be before then, though. But whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All
right, dude. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll talk soon.
Yep.
Bye.
You too. See ya.